Hello everyone, this is a follow-up on an earlier video relating to stealth gameplay in Resident Evil 4 Remake. Spoilers ahead and timestamps are in the description. The short answer is yes, you can stealth attack the Chainsaw Villager, but you cannot defeat him with just one attack, at least not on high difficulties. Unlike the Brute, which can be taken down with a single attack, you cannot instant kill the Chainsaw Villager, even if you max out the damage of the combat knife. Okay, here are some more details about this topic. Throughout the game, there are not many opportunities to sneak upon the chainsaw wielding villager. You cannot do it in earlier chapters of the game. For example, there is no way to sneak up behind him in the opening village battle. However, it is possible to do the stealth attack in Chapter 11 when you encounter the Chainsaw Man again in the underground mine. Unfortunately, there is no consistent way to do this, as the position of the Chainsaw Villager changes depending on certain conditions. But if you're lucky and careful, it is possible to sneak up behind him. Even though the stealth attack is not an instant kill, it only consumes a small amount of durability from the knife and still does very high damage. After some testing, the damage is similar to the knife stab which Leon does when the enemy turns around after getting stun locked. So, unlike other stealth attacks, the damage of the knife does matter in this particular case. Therefore, upgrading the attack power of the combat knife can substantially increase the damage output of the stealth attack against the Chainsaw Man. You may be wondering how to do this stealth attack and what are the certain conditions that I was talking about before. Alright, here are the instructions. Once you get to the underground mine, jump over the barrier to the lower section, stay crouched and go slightly forward so you can see the Chainsaw Villager moving in the background. You will see him jump down from the upper platform and then he will move adjacent to the locked door just below the objective. Do not go any further. Be patient and wait until he relocates to the back corner, close to the stairs leading up to the bridge. After he moves, you can then go forward, and to make things easier, take down the guy holding a torch and also the villager with the shovel. Once the patrolling enemies are gone, go around very slowly and move behind the Chainsaw Man to perform the stealth attack. The method shown here does not work all the time. Sometimes the Chainsaw Villager will not reposition to the corner, or he will take a really long time to do so. Other times he can somehow detect Leon's presence before you can land the stealth attack, so you may need to reload the game several times before you can do this. So, how about the Chainsaw Lady? Initially I thought there's no way to do this in Chapter 11, because she always faces the door that you enter. There are also no alternative routes to go around, but if you shoot her with a bolt gun from really far away, this can cause her to move to another position below. Then it is possible to use a stealth attack. Again, this method is not consistent and only works sometimes. Even if you are successful with a stealth attack, you also cannot defeat her. I have tried to completely upgrade the combat knife, both the damage and the durability, dying multiple times on purpose, and then continuing the game to try and see if it makes any difference. I have tested this many times on New Game Professional difficulty, and it appears that you cannot instant kill the chainsaw enemy using just one stealth attack. I'm not sure about other difficulties, maybe it is different. Also, I was unable to test the fighting knife, as you can only get that at the end of Chapter 14. There is also a way to stealth attack the Chainsaw Villager in Chapter 2. Normally the Chainsaw Man will stand up the stairs facing you and two more villagers will spawn behind you, making stealth impossible. But what you can do is that after you trigger all the enemies, run all the way back to the merchant just outside the abandoned factory. Then use a typewriter to save the game and reload that save file. This will reset the position of the villagers to their spawn point. Now you can move from behind to take them down using the knife. You can also use a stealth attack on the Chainsaw Man because sometimes he will have his back turned towards you. Again, it is not possible to defeat him, so you cannot hide again once you attack him. You can repeat the same strategy as before, completely exit the area, save, reload, and this will reset his position. Then try and perform the stealth attack again. You should be able to defeat him the second time as long as you have upgraded the combat knife. Because this method requires you to completely exit an area, save and reload, it is not considered real stealth. It is also not 100% consistent, as the exact orientation and positions of the enemies may change every time you reload the game. But you can use this method to take down enemies that normally cannot be killed with a stealth attack. For example, in Chapter 1, at the village farm, the brute with a hammer will always break down the door, and there is no way to stay hidden after that. However, if you quickly go back through the double door to the village square, wait until all the enemies are deactivated, then go back to the farm, save the game, reload again. This will reset the position of the brute, and then you can take him down with a stealth attack. Just an interesting side note, while I was doing this test in Chapter 11, I discovered that you can destroy the rock that is blocking the path forward using the rocket launcher. You don't have to get the dynamite, just be careful not to get crushed by the debris after the explosion. You may be thinking, what if I also picked up the dynamite? Well, you can sell it to the merchant for 3,000 credits. And no, you cannot shorten the boss battle with the two giants later on. Lewis will still disappear to get a different dynamite. Adding to this, Lewis will try to remain silent and will not use his weapon as long as Leon is not seen by anyone. So it is possible to get through the underground mine with partial stealth, where you can activate the drawbridge without being detected. After you get across the bridge, then it is difficult to hide again. Anyway, I hope this video has been useful. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you all next time.